Good morning. My name is Detective Constable Rick Stewart. I'm with the Vancouver Police Financial Crime Section. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to me today. The message that I'd like to bring to you is revolving around a scam that has been a little bit prevalent the last 3 years here in the city. It is apartment rental fraud, and it's been on the rise. In 2009, we had 48 incidents. In 2010, we had 66, and already this year we have 12. So we'd like to issue a warning to the public to be aware that this scam is out there and ongoing. And our hope is that with all scams, they all have a shelf life, and we'd like to shorten the shelf life on this particular scam. So basically, these incidents occur when a suspect puts an advertisement in the newspaper or puts an advertisement on Craigslist, and then the unsuspecting victim shows up to an apartment building or a coffee shop, and the gentleman or lady who is running the scam advises them they have a suite for rent and what it is. And unfortunately, what's been happening in these cases is these people are not gaining access to the suite, and they're handing over cash, not checks, to these suspects. And therefore, once the suspect leaves the vicinity, whether it be an apartment building, a restaurant, a coffee shop, they're gone with our poor victim's money. So we have a list of tips that we'd like to share with you. And I'm advised that they'll pop up right behind me on cue. So these are red flags and tips. I think you all have a list of them in front of you, and they will be on the VPD website as well, if any of the public would like access to them. So the first tip is, if the price is too good to be true, it probably is. Check rental rates in the same area. Often fraudsters will entice victims with low prices, and this is to get as many victims as they can, to elicit as many of the victims as they can. Tip number 2, are they just communicating with you via email? Fraudsters, most of the time, do not want to meet their victims in person. They will avoid this at all costs. They don't want to be recognized. Certainly, I'm sure all of you are aware that a successful fraudster is an unknown fraudster. Once we've identified a fraudster, we have a pretty good track record of hunting them down. The third tip, are they asking for cash or a cash security deposit? Obviously, cash proposes a problem, because if you give someone cash, it's untraceable. There's no way for us to prove that that's your cash, unless, of course, you had all the serial numbers on the cash, and then the bad guy shows up and has all the serial numbers. Tip number 4, are they asking for the money to be wired? Once money is wired, it is extremely difficult to cancel that transaction, and it's also extremely difficult to trace. Tip number 5, have you seen the place? Have you had an opportunity to walk around the property with the property manager or the owner? Never rent a place that you haven't even had access to get inside. It's hard to believe that anyone would give anyone money if they hadn't even seen the suite, but it happens, and it's happening with some degree of regularity. Is the suspect asking you for personal information, such as your social insurance number, bank account, or credit card numbers? That sort of information is not necessary when you're renting an apartment or a suite. Tip number, where am I at? Thank you very much. I think it's number 7, actually. Ask if they are the landlord or the property manager. You have to ascertain who the person is that's renting you the suite. I know there are cases that might develop where someone is subletting their suite, so they wouldn't be the owner or the property manager, but the fact of the matter is, even if they're subletting the suite, you should have access to that suite. And the last tip is ask the neighbors about the landlord and the history of the property. As a society, as a neighborhood, as a community, the best information is always the next door neighbor. People who live in the building, people who live around the neighborhood, they should know something. People shouldn't be ghosts in a building. And that is the end of our tips and our red flags for you.